Hello everybody, I am Jmulls of Jmulls Gaming here today with a new video, and today I want to talk about reboots. Because if you have watched or kept up with the latest Gamescom, you'll have seen the announcement of the newest Saints Row game that is meant to be a reboot of the franchise. And yeah, it's something alright. Now, I was never the biggest fan of Saints Row. I watched a Let's Play or two 3 and 4 years ago, but it never really appealed to me. But I can easily see why people are not enthralled with the Saints Row Reboot reveal trailer. Because until the text specifically saying it was a Saints Row game popped up, I had no freaking idea it was a Saints Row game. Yeah, I'm not joking. I thought it looked like a game I'd hear about for a couple of days around the reveal and wouldn't hear about again until the game was released. From the outset, the trailer had this visual look to it of someone who just didn't finish their homework, so they asked Fortnite to let them borrow theirs, and Fortnite said sure, but mix it up a bit. It's not a one-for-one match, but come on. There's definitely a resemblance there that cannot be denied in my opinion. Honestly, it feels like they made a game and then slapped the Saints Row name on it afterwards. Granted, we don't have much in the way of gameplay to look at outside of approximately 30 seconds of heavily edited footage of a generic third-person open-world combat game. But nothing really looked unique. Looked kind of like GTA 5 with a Fortnite texture pack. Granted, this is all subject to change, sure, but ordinarily you'd think they want to put their best foot forward here if you only have so much to show. Maybe the full game is actually a ton of fun and we're just overanalyzing what we have. In which case, I don't know, I guess fair play. But I feel this is a really good opportunity to talk about reboots more as a concept. Because you really have two kinds of reboots in my mind. Spiritual reboots where it might continue the story, but they mix the formula up dramatically, or the visuals up dramatically, to where it starts to feel like its own entity. Examples of spiritual reboots to me would be the PS4 version of Ratchet & Clank, where they reset the story but it felt like Ratchet & Clank, because they had the main characters we all knew and loved that had similar combat and gameplay. You could also argue Persona 3 to an extent, I guess, because it introduced an entire new mechanic with the social links. You could also argue Sly Cooper 4, Thieves in Time, or whatever the heck the name of the game was, since the art style was so fundamentally different. Though I do think that one is kind of borderline. The other kind of reboot is what I like to call a hard reboot. Maybe there's already a term, but I'm going to use it here. A hard reboot is when you change the tone and feel of the game, along with resetting the story or just making a completely unrelated one. And mixing up the gameplay. We're just kind of arguing degrees of how much an established game formula is changed. But I think there is enough of a difference to warrant two separate definitions. We could also delve into the definition a bit more and ask, is The Witcher 3 a spiritual reboot? And personally, I'd say no. Witcher 3 kind of just added to the formula overall, instead of fundamentally changing it. Sure, you could argue open world, but Witcher already had smaller open world-ish sections. Witcher 3 just made it really a massive open world. I think any developer, honestly, is going to run into backlash when they reboot a beloved and established franchise. Because you run the risk of alienating the core fanbase of that series. There can be either, for any number of reasons really, when I'm thinking about it, ranging from gameplay to story to pacing to aesthetics. If it deviates in any way from what people liked, they will be upset. At least some vocal people will on the internet. Now, I don't think reboots are inherently bad per se. They have value. They can breathe life back into a declining or disregarded franchise while modernizing certain aspects of it. They can also take a well-beloved franchise and change it fundamentally because they want to tell a different kind of story. Look at God of War. Gone are the days of the fast-paced hack-and-slash chaotic action of the original trilogy. With the PS4 reboot, they slowed it down and told a slower, more emotionally complex story for an older and aging Kratos, and probably for an older and aging core audience. They even brought in a completely different mythology, moving from Greek in the originals to Norse with the new game. A lot of people were upset because this new, slower God of War wasn't the game they fell in love with. But many old fans and new fans fell in love with the new style, me included, and the story that was told. It was a massively bold direction to take the franchise, but now it's one of Sony's biggest franchises, arguably more so than the originals were. Sure, it was a gamble, but it paid off for God of War. I don't know why I say Gold of War there. Who knows? Maybe it will pay off for Saints Row. And the more grounded direction they are seemingly wanting to go in, at least in comparison to Saints Row 4, pays off. Maybe it will. It also couldn't. Let's look at an example of a reboot that didn't age so well. And you know, when I was actually writing this script, I realized I couldn't think of a bad reboot. Probably because if a reboot is bad, I just kind of forget about it in comparison to the originals. So I'm going to leave 2 links in the description to articles that I used to refresh my memory. Who remembers that Wii U Star Fox game? What about that Dungeon Keeper EA game that was basically just mobile games the game? It was honestly almost a parody of itself. What about 2013's Devil May Cry? I never played DMC games, but I remember how people wouldn't shut up about this game. And I swear it was mainly because Dante didn't look or feel like Dante that everyone knew and loved. I'm in the camp of having not been excited about or interested in any of these franchises, so maybe that's why I had such a hard time remembering their reboots. But I feel for people who enjoy those franchises, I really do. Rebooting and fundamentally changing something that people enjoy is always going to be a tough sell, because a lot of people do not like change and find comfort in familiarity. I feel for a reboot to be successful, you need a couple of things, right? First is fun gameplay, duh, obviously. And yeah, while it's kind of a matter of, yeah, sure, a video game needs fun and enjoyable gameplay, thanks for that update. I feel it's especially true for a reboot since there's a very real basis for comparison. If the gameplay is bad, then people will be extra annoyed since you had a model to work off of. The other is to be respectful to the original material you are rebooting. If the new game feels like it's solely trying to crap on and disrespect what the fans of that original franchise loved, then you are just alienating the core players who are probably going to give your game the most attention in the first place, which I just don't think is smart business. In conclusion, for Saints Row's reboot, I'm going to hope for the best. I don't subscribe to the idea of rooting for a game to be bad. If it's a good game and people enjoy it, then that's great to me. If they move away from what people want from a Saints Row game, then I think that will be an interesting case study, and something fun to break down as to exactly what went wrong and how it could have been avoided. Or maybe it's a massive success, and we can analyze that. Either way, I can probably get a video out of it, so I'm cool, I'm good. Really, that's all I have to say for today. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please leave a like and comment down below with your opinions on reboots. What was your favorite reboot? Because honestly, mine was probably Final Fantasy VII Remake. Even though that one's kind of a borderline reboot, like what's the difference between a reboot and a remake, yada yada yada. Let's just count it for this video. My least favorite reboot would probably have been Dungeon Keeper, even though I never played the originals and I didn't play the EA game. Just watching Total Biscuit's video from back in the day, I'm like, I'm not even a fan of this franchise and I feel upset. You know what I mean? It's like it was borderline funny, just how much of a stereotypical mobile game it really was. Are you looking forward to the new Saints Row game? Or are you not? Leave your comments down below as to why you are either not interested in or you are interested in. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And please subscribe to the channel to support future videos and content. I would greatly appreciate it. Stay safe out there, everybody. Have a great day. And I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody.